Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the 2023 Distinguished Faculty Awards. My name is Bill Tierney, Hobart class of 1990, sibling of an 82 grad, 2 in 87, my sister in 95, and my 2020 Heron, my pride and joy. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Distinguished Faculty Award, along with Tempe Newsom Landy, class of 2011. Campus looks beautiful today, as it does this time of year. But campus would be nothing but an empty shell without the faculty, for they're the reason we all came here in the first place. This year's committee included Dave Fisher, class of 2010, Lawrence Moultrie, 04, of the Hobart Alumnae Association, and Melissa Fazolo-Gorsinski, class of 1998, and her daughter Emily is here, class of 26, and Audrey Platt, class of 21, from the William Smith Alumnae Association. This is my favorite stat. Together, we reviewed 367 alumni and alumni submissions for nominating faculty for this prestigious award. I'd like to recognize a few of the previous recipients of the award, and if you could raise your hand, Professor Emeritus of Mathematics Ann Oakes, Associate Professor Emeritus of Sociology Jim Spates, Professor Emeritus of Economics Pat McGuire, and Professor Emeritus of Biology Joe Curlin. And now I'd like to invite Provost and Dean of the Faculty, Sarah Kirk, to the podium.
Thank you very much. I'd first like to start by thanking Bill Tierney and Tempe Landy for leading this effort. It really, truly means a lot to us as a campus, and to thank the whole selection committee. As a longtime faculty member myself, I can think of no greater reward than to having your former students talk about the wonderful things that you do, the way that they touched your life in the classroom, in the laboratory, in study abroad, mentoring, advising, all the things that happen both in and out of the classroom. So I hope that you join me in just feeling immense gratitude for all of those who took an opportunity to share the ways in which you have touched their lives. So thank you. I regret that I'm new enough that I did not get an opportunity to work directly with either Tom or Jo Beth, but I will say I've heard wonderful things about the things that they've done on the campus, the way that they have transformed this place, and I feel honored to be in your presence today. So thank you for coming back and allowing us to honor you as well. So at Hobart and William Smith, that teacher-student relationship is so very important to all that we do. We pride ourselves on a deep, relationship-rich education, and these are two models of that. And we all aspire to touch the lives and transform, and to help stretch our students so that they can go lead lives of consequence, as our motto says. So it, again, is my great pleasure today to be able to participate in this event, and to just say thank you to all of you for showing up, and congratulations. You deserve to be here.
Hi, everyone. The Distinguished Faculty Award was established in 1990 by the Hobart Alumnae Association and the William Smith Alumnae Association. This joint award of the associations recognizes the importance that graduates of the colleges place on the contributions of the outstanding faculty members of the past for their impact as teachers, mentors, and scholars. Nominations for the award are sought by all alumni and alumni, and our professors who are retired or have moved on from Hobart and William Smith for more than 5 years, or who are deceased. As one of the original committee members noted, it is our way of recognizing and honoring those who are our mentors, who modeled and nurtured us during our intellectual awakening, who taught us our limits and challenged our capabilities, and who inspired the best in us. More than anything else during our college years, outstanding teachers made the experience so valuable, and we recognize these professors as worthy of a particular distinction and honor. It has been a real privilege to be part of this committee and be able to reflect on our time as students and think about the faculty that we had when we were on campus, and really fun committee to be a part of. Our two recipients today not only had an outstanding number of votes from the Hobart and William Smith community, but had deeply moving stories and anecdotes about the impact that they had on the lives of their students. We are very honored today to share some of those tributes with you today and honor Beth Mertens, Associate Professor Emeritus of Economics, and Thomas J. Glover, Professor Emeritus of Biology, as the recipients of the Distinguished Faculty Award. I would now like to invite Kyle Zaverton, class of 2015 and chair of the Hobart Heritage Committee, to the podium to share a few words about Professor Mertens.
Thank you, Tempe, and good afternoon. My name is Kyle Zaverton, Hobart class of 2015, and today I have the honor of introducing the 2023 Distinguished Faculty Award winner, Professor Emeritus of Economics, Beth Mertens. A specialist in tax and economic policy, Mertens taught at HWS from 1997 to 2015, with a range of courses exploring collective bargaining, labor relations, sports economics, and public finance. She also led the Two Cities course with two other DFA recipients, Jim Spates and Pat McGuire. Her numerous leadership roles include chair of the economics department, director of the public policy program, and chair of the committee of the faculty. Mertens was named the New York State Professor of the Year in 2005 and the Chi-Phi National Advisor of the Year in 2011. She was the 2011 recipient of the college's Community Service Award and a 2003 Fulbright Teaching Scholarship to Vietnam. A shining example of worlds of experience, lives of consequence, Professor Mertens also served in consulting roles across the world on tax policy and tax administration, including the resident advisor on tax policy at the Ministry of Finance in Ukraine in 1993, the Russian Ministry of Finance in 1994. Mertens also consulted many agencies, including the United States Department of Treasury, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. My first personal interaction with Professor Mertens came in the fall of 2011. I was on the wait list for her session of statistics the following semester, and I thought by speaking with her, I might get a chance to come off the wait list, and she would enroll me manually in the course. I approached her office in Stern Hall, very much a nervous first-year student, fully aware of her reputation. Professor Mertens politely, but firmly, suggested that I consider another course to take, seeing as I'd only completed Principle of Economics, the introductory economics course. I left her office feeling disappointed, to say the least, but kept myself on the wait list and eventually was able to enroll in the course. That statistics course was the first of 3 classes I would take with Beth. What I came to respect the most about Professor Mertens during my time in her classroom was her unwillingness to change her expectation of her students. When you enrolled in a Professor Mertens course, you knew she had a reputation of being tough, but at no point was she unfair. The bar she set for her students, arguably the highest among all of the economics department, was clearly communicated and uniform. The remarkable thing was that more often than not, students would rise to that bar. You might see students who never attended office hours or visit teaching fellows suddenly do so. I bet if you polled students, almost all would agree that the grades they earned in Professor Mertens' courses were among the most satisfying in their academic career. Looking back on my experiences with Professor Mertens now 8+ years later, it was clear that her demanding demeanor was really in the best interest of her students. Would you turn something like that into your boss? She would ask a student who hadn't stapled their paper. I myself had even been burned by a clause in her syllabus that an incomplete sentence would result in an automatic 0 on that assignment. And unfortunately, I've been informed that you do get a copy of this speech, so you have my phone number if you find anything. To this day, Professor Mertens might be the toughest boss I've ever had. In addition to the impact she had in the classroom, after retiring, Beth served as the special assistant to the president for student success from 2017 to 2019. Her work focused on analysis of admissions data to help determine where HWS could make strides in improving first-year retention. This project had a lasting impact on the student alumni researcher who worked with her, as that individual went on to pursue a career in data analysis. This contribution to HWS encapsulates Professor Mertens perfectly. She was able to use her immense technical expertise to simultaneously advance the colleges and encourage the next generation of graduates. Professor Mertens, your impact to the colleges, your students, and the economics department is impossible to capture in this introduction. Your service to the colleges has inspired my own. The work ethic and attention to detail I developed in your classroom continues to influence my career today. Thank you for your mentorship, friendship, and I cannot think of a more deserving recipient of this award. Excuse me. So at this time, I'd ask that you turn your attention to the monitor for a video.
Beth was the very best of teachers. Energetic, enthusiastic, and demanding, she cajoled her students along, brought them to tears, encouraged them to great accomplishment.
Thank you on behalf of all of your students for your preparation that you put in and the hours that you would meet with students in your office and just everything you did to make the colleges first rate and to contribute to your students' success.
Everyone knew Beth's office door on the 3rd floor of Stern Hall was open an almost unreasonable number of hours each week to help students.
Besides being an incredible econ professor that is not afraid to challenge her students, you've been so much more to so many of us.
When you walked into the classroom that first time for Intro to Econ, you said, "I am not your mother." You wrote it on the door. You made sure people wrote it down. Well, you have been a fantastic mother to me through college and afterwards, and I owe a lot of who I am to you.
Her most famous line, of course, was, "I am not your mother." But of course she was. She wanted the best of them, and she was willing to put in the time and energy to make sure that they put in the time and energy to do their best. She is without a doubt a distinguished professor.
Thank you, Beth, and congratulations on your Distinguished Faculty Award. I love you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you for being more than just a professor. Thank you for being there for us.
We're honored that you're still in our life, and we're honored to be here with you. Congratulations. We love you.
It is an honor and a privilege to present the Distinguished Faculty Award to Professor Emeritus of Economics, Beth Mertens.
I can't believe I'm supposed to talk now. Kevin, where are you? There you are, sweetie. I'm really speechless. That's the worst. I just, it means so much to me to be appreciated and to know that I meant something to you. And what I want my students to know is that you meant something to me, and you still do. I learned from my students. I learned how to be a better teacher. I learned how to be a better parent. I learned how to be a better person. And I thank you all for that. I also have to say that I wouldn't be standing here today if I had not had the support of my wonderful colleagues in the economics department who let me be the badass professor and let me sort of do my thing. They put up with my small classes. We figured out how to deal with that because there were a few years where I was the only person who taught statistics. So people had to take me. But the senior colleagues when I started, Pat McGuire, Alan Frischman, Bill Waller, Judith McKinney, Scott McKinney, you were wonderful mentors. And my junior colleagues at the time, Tom Drennan, Bessel Hahn, Jenny Tessendorf, wonderful, wonderful colleagues. And then I can't not thank Renee Monson, who is, we're like sisters, right? Yeah. That support from this place has always been very special. When I was in the 5th grade, I read a biography of Elizabeth Blackwell. And I guess that would have been about 1968. Don't do the math. And I remember reading that book, finishing that book, and thinking, well, I may be a girl, but I can do anything I want. And when I interviewed here and realized that this is where Elizabeth Blackwell did her medical degree, I've always felt that I had a very special connection to this place. This is a very special place with very special people. And I thank you all very, very much. You have given me a gift, the greatest gift of all. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jo Beth. Thank you, Kyle. It is my honor now to invite Joel Curlin, friend and fellow DFA recipient, and Melissa Fasolo-Gorzinski, class of 98 and parent, a class of 2026, to the podium to honor Professor Emeritus of Biology, Tom Glover. Joel?
Pardon me? I said maize and blue. Yeah, maize and blue, yes. Hello, my name is Professor Emeritus Joel Curlin. Just a few remarks that I actually wrote up 3 years ago, but I decided to deliver today. No, I did it this morning. Tom, I feel that you're being recognized for the Distinguished Faculty Award today for both doing an outstanding job in your day-to-day efforts and for changing the nature of our curriculum in the biology department. I believe that your department colleagues have always recognized that you are an exceptional teacher with the ability to organize and clarify complex information. We also recognize your ability as a pre-health advisor to act as counsel and coach for many aspiring student health professionals. However, I feel that your largest contributions were the major changes you successfully lobbied and then instituted in the philosophy and the curriculum of our biology department. First, you and Val Kish transformed our introductory biology offerings. Whoops. Yes. Your efforts modernize this course, transforming descriptive and a rote learning program into an experimental and problem-solving approach. Second, I feel that you successfully promoted the substitution of a biostatistics course for a traditional second term of introductory biology. This course served as a foundation for experimental design and statistical analysis for all intermediate and advanced biology courses. Finally, Your pioneering and creative administration of the Student Research Program at the New York State Agricultural Experiment Station provided life-changing experiences and personal growth for numerous students. For these accomplishments, and in others not mentioned, you deserve this recognition for guiding our students and modernizing and promoting the biology department, the science division, and the colleges. Thanks for laying a foundation on which the biology department has grown and succeeded. Yet most of all, thanks for my fond memories of knowing and working with you for over 30 years.
Thank you, Professor Curlin. Good afternoon. It is my distinct honor to present the Distinguished Faculty Award to Emeritus Professor of Biology, Thomas Glover, on the occasion of my 25th reunion, which is unbelievable. But those of us who study the natural sciences at HWS, especially biology, we're fortunate to have had a number of excellent professors. But when many of us think back on our time here, Dr. Glover is at the core of many of our memories. He is a person who many remember fondly and someone who has our deepest respect. Tom was a member of the faculty for 40 years, spanning from 1972 to 2012, and the breadth of the impact he had on students during his tenure became very evident to me during two recent alumni events. At both events, I spoke with others about experiences in the biology department, and Tom was a common thread. One alum graduated relatively recently, towards the end of Tom's career. Another, one of your first students, and myself somewhere in between. The alumni I spoke to, and many who wrote letters of support for this award, recall stories of Tom's direct impact on their goals and opportunities. With Dr. Glover's help and guidance, many students were able to get involved in research at Cornell's New York Agricultural Experiment Station, receive pre-med internship experiences, or help determining whether a career path may be better or not. Some say he was a very practical and influential voice that has echoed in my head all through the years. Tom took a no-nonsense approach to teaching, which made him an excellent, one-of-a-kind educator. He was encouraging and challenged us. As the distinguished Professor Kenneth Carl stated, Tom Glover cared about learning the material, not just memorizing. He drew the utmost respect from his students as we worked hard to earn his respect in return. Tom can be a bit intimidating, and rumor had it when I arrived on campus that he did not like first-year students. I considered myself lucky to have earned the opportunity to have Dr. Glover as my advisor my second year. And I also was one of his TAs for biostats. So. As another former student stated, Professor Glover's willingness to push me to work harder and try something new has contributed immensely to the person I am today. My memory of his support and generosity will contribute to who I become in the future. This is a sentiment that is echoed by many of his former students, and we truly hope, Tom, that you know how much your students respect and appreciate you. Tom also believed that you should look beyond the sciences for growth. He encouraged me to take one of the most memorable classes I experienced as a senior, art history. Very much outside my science brain wheelhouse. It was a challenge, but I credit Tom for helping me to challenge myself and to learn something outside of science that I could appreciate for many years to come. Tom's mentorship extends beyond the lives of his students. This fall, I had an opportunity to catch up with Tom and his wife, Emily, at his home across the street from current professor of biology, Christy Kenyon. In many ways, this gathering was a full circle moment for me, as I was able to introduce my daughter, who is a rising sophomore here, to my mentor with the help of the professor who helped positively influence her decision to attend HWS. Professor Kenyon has come to know Tom as a friend and mentor as well. She writes, The path from Rosenberg to Tom's office on the 3rd floor of Eaton was well traveled for the 9 years we were departmental colleagues. He never turned me away, taking the time to listen to whatever problem was in front of me. Tom showed me how to set high expectations and learn from inevitable mistakes. He also played a critical role in fostering my scholarship. Perhaps it is his gift for teaching statistics that extended his ability to skillfully advise students and colleagues on taking chances. Like so many others, I can look back and see the pivotal role that Tom played in the positive trajectory of my career. He has had a profound and lasting impact on my professional and personal life, which continues today. It is with deep respect and immense gratitude that I join the voices of his former students to honor Tom's legacy at HWS and the Geneva community. During that visit, Tom recalled stories about many of his past students, often related to the study abroad trips that he led to Australia, an experience of a lifetime for those of us who had this opportunity. I also learned he co-authored a statistics textbook with former colleague Kevin Mitchell, a staple on the shelf of some of our current faculty. It is very clear that the impact Tom has had on the scientific fields of genetics and statistics will be felt for years to come. But the impact that he has had on his students, faculty, the community, and Hobart and William Smith colleges will be everlasting. If you'll now turn your attention to the video.
Respected, honorable, skilled biologist, teacher, faculty, colleague, and friend. All of these words describe our longtime friend and colleague, Tom Glover.
Professor Glover has a presence that is incredible. As a biology major, you wanted Professor Glover to know you, remember you, and be a part of your college experience. He is honest and reasonable, but also someone whose opinion is highly valued.
So he said it like it is. Maybe not surprisingly, because it was honest and straightforward. Students like myself followed his advice.
I thank you for the influence you've had in my career. The only reason I pursued a degree in genetics and a career in genetics that has taken me to lovely places is you.
I was lucky enough to have the time with Tom in Australia. It was such a groundbreaking, life-changing experience, not only for me as a student, but as a biologist.
He is an outstanding example of what makes colleges so special and unique.
Congratulations, Dr. Glover. It is more than well deserved that you are the recipient of the Distinguished Faculty Award this year.
So thank you, Tom, for all of your wisdom and your honesty.
Congratulations on being awarded the Distinguished Faculty for 2023.
I'm so glad that we can celebrate Tom today. And I want to let you know that I still use your textbook, Introduction to Biostatistics by my friends Tom Glover and Kevin Mitchell.
Please join me in recognizing Professor Emeritus Thomas Glover as the recipient of the Distinguished Faculty Award.
Is it okay if I stay here? Yes. Okay. This is an odd situation for me. Usually I'm the tallest person in the room. And about 6 weeks ago, I became one of the shortest people in the room. Still not shorter than a couple of people that I know, but short. I feel a lot of gratitude, and I want to sort of put that at the end. I'd like to just tell everybody how I got here and how my wife got here. We both went to Ohio State in Ohio. We grew up in Ohio. I got 3 degrees from Ohio State. I was 26 years old. It was 1972. Jobs were really tight. There were people with PhDs that were working in gas stations. I was told about a job in upstate New York at this place called Hobart and William Smith Colleges, and I couldn't figure out why they had to have 2 colleges in one place. So I came here in March to interview, and there was 2 foot of black snow piled up. And I had played golf the day before, and I thought, upstate New York is a pretty rough place, and I'm not sure I want to go there. Went through the interview process and met a lot of interesting people. I got home, and Emily said, well, what do you think? I said, well, I think they're going to offer me the job, but I'll never take you to a place like that. So as it turns out, there weren't that many jobs, as I said, and a job offer came through, and so Emily and I trundled off to New York from Ohio. And we came down Route 14, and Emily got tears in her eyes because Route 14 is not the way to come into Geneva. I mean, it was grim. And in addition to that, Hurricane Agnes had hit here. It was so wet, and it rained every day we were here. We sat on the quad to discuss things, and were eaten alive by mosquitoes. We couldn't find an apartment. One farmer was going to rent us this house, but the only problem with it was the basement was full of water, but he didn't seem to think that was a problem. We kind of thought it was a problem, and we ended up behind the Chanticleer, which was a problem. And when we came back, the adjustment was tough at first. I enjoyed the teaching. The reason I wanted to come to a small school was at Ohio State. I was one of the lead TAs in a course that taught 10,000 students a year. We had 7,000 each fall, winter, and spring, and a mere 800 in the summer. And I didn't see that as an effective way to teach people. And I wanted to go to a place where I could stand in front of a class and they could come into my office and we could interact. And that's what this place was. So anyway, we got here and I started teaching, and Emily couldn't find a job. She was told when we came here that because she had a lot of experience, she could have any job she wanted when she got here. She got here, they said, oh, they tell me we've interviewed you. So she didn't have a job, and she sat in that Chanticleer for a while and began doing some volunteer work, and eventually found a job in Waterloo teaching. And we said, well, okay, it's not great, but we'll stick it out for 3 to 5 years, and then we'll move on. As those 3 to 5 years progressed, the place sort of grew on us in a lot of different ways. The people grew on us, the ethos of the place grew on us, the teaching experiences grew on us, and actually the environments grew on us. We sort of liked upstate New York. So that 5 years ended up, well, maybe we'll stay a bit longer, and that ended up 40 years at Hobart and 50 years here in Geneva. Now, my great friend Joel Curlin over here, whom I taught with in spite of him going to Michigan for his degree, and me going to Ohio State, we got along reasonably well. But since he retired, he's tried to get us to move out of Geneva and up to Pittsburgh, where they live. And Emily and I would never leave Geneva. We're going to die in Geneva. This is our home. And now I'm clutching up too. The people we've met, the people we've worked with, my colleagues at the experiment station have been so generous with our students. I think one of them's here, Tony Sheldon's here. I think he is. He presented me today with a box full of limpet shells. And the reason he did that was because he sat in my statistics class, and there was a problem in the book about limpets, and I misidentified them as something. It's not a zoology class, it was a statistics class. And he's never let me forget that I had this hole in my understanding of zoology. So to Tony, if he's still here, and thanks a lot. But he was afraid to take the final, I think. But no, Tony is a great scientist, as were many of the people at the experiment station. I worked at the experiment station for about 10 years with Wendell Roloff's group and some other people there in entomology and Tony's an entomologist, and we had a lot of interesting times together. So I just want to say, you know, it took a while, but we love this place. We love the colleges and our friends. Thank you.
And now I have the pleasure of welcoming back our president, Mark Aaron.
Well, thank you, Bill. And to Bill and Tempe and your committee, thank you so much for this wonderful tradition and what this says about, as Professor Glover said, the ethos of this community in terms of how we prize our faculty and what that means for our current faculty, what that means for certainly all of us here, students, current students, staff members, future faculty members who will work with our provost, who will be engaged, not distracted by Route 15 when they come in, 14 when they come into town, but for a place that recognizes excellence and heritage of a Distinguished Faculty Award. So thank you both for all the efforts that you've done. And to Zach and Melissa and Joel, thank you for those great nominating words, beautifully said and positioned and heartfelt and with our appreciation. It's so nice to see so many former colleagues, faculty members, emeritus that are here, and we welcome you back, President McGuire. We welcome back to... He still laughs at me when I call him. Hey, I became my successor. Careful. There's a little precedent here, big guy. To our reunioners that are here, Melissa, you said you celebrated your 25th. Jo Beth, I'm not an economist, but we have reunions every 5 years. Right? I think that's your 5th reunion. It's not your 25th. It's your 5th reunion. So, and to all the reunioners that are here, welcome back. It should be a great weekend, and certainly to have this event is especially noteworthy and reflective of this great place. To my current colleagues and the staff and others as well. While we have a Distinguished Faculty Award, I think we all should have a Distinguished Faculty Assistance Award. And there are 2 former colleagues that are here that if it were up to me, Bill and Tempe, I would induct to the newfound award of Distinguished Faculty Assistants. And that would be Ann Warner and Laura Sposato. Where are they? And Laura. No disrespect to the distinguished faculty. No disrespect. So I have now been kicking around here long enough to know and have had the very good fortune of working with today's honorees. And I first arrived here in 1999. Mary and I came up here. And Tom and Jo Beth were here. So Kyle, if you think it was intimidating as a first-year student walking into Jo Beth's class, try a new president walking into the chair of COFAC here without a PhD, never having taught. But they are both prized members. Tom was here, and to state the obvious, he was, to me, a towering figure. But while not by stature, we certainly very much saw eye to eye in terms of Hobart and William Smith and our students and what this great place means to so much. I had the good fortune of reading the nominations or the letters and commendations after you had selected Tom and Jo Beth. And it's quite moving. And I hope you have the chance to see them, because literally generations of students have reflected back over the arc of time and their lives to say that Tom and Jo Beth truly made a difference in their lives. And it's very, very moving. But what also calls out to me the through line of both our distinguished colleagues is the demanding nature of their teaching. You heard it here from Melissa and Kyle. An exacting, demanding, high expectations faculty. And so in many ways, it's all the more impressive, your award today. Because these were not our alums writing back and say, whew, they pushed me over the line. I didn't really work that hard, but they really helped me. It was that you worked them very hard and you changed their lives. So that through line is not lost on me. So for that standard of excellence, we thank you. And for that heritage that all of our faculty, past and future, will give to generations of the standards of excellence, I'm particularly grateful. Tom, I get to see quite a bit in the science buildings, walking back from Cox Hall to 690 South Main Street through the years. And his care for students and the time he took with them was evident. His wit and good humor, which is still very much intact today, because upon greeting him today and congratulating him, he immediately made fun of my sports jacket. So Emily, some things never change. And the shirt, he did the whole thing. And my shoes, I was giving you some credit. He went through the whole outfit, probably deservedly so. But I really want to thank Tom and Emily for their work in the Geneva community. What's been said appropriately is what Tom did for our students with the experiment station. And that work and that coordination, where scores of students got experimental education and experience that served them well in their professional careers. But their work in the community, their volunteer leadership and their care for this place that Tom spoke so movingly about as his home, should also be called out today with our thanks. So I thank you for that, Tom. And Jo Beth, how proud she is of Noah as a now newly minted lawyer. That's exciting. But care and giving to her students, as Kyle said forcefully, was always known to me. In her joke and line, "I am not your mother," that Professor Waller reminded us of in the booklet and others, was always sort of amusing to me, because it was on message. It was her brand. But with respect, it wasn't true. Right? She cared deeply for those students. And I get the point, and I get the message. And so when I asked Jo Beth to join my garage band, I said, "You don't have to be my mother. You just have to kind of sing." But for her care for our students and excellence in bringing that New York State Professor of the Year that I think I dined out on for about 18 months in that period of time. I spoke of that so many times. Deeply grateful that towards the end of my time, asking her to help us with retention, that was proved exceedingly important to this institution. So to both of you, on behalf of generations of students who have spoken and whose words will be recorded to you and given to you, I thank you for that. and with gratitude for the standard of excellence you have set for this institution, for the ethos of this institution, for the future of this institution. To have these two folks called out as distinguished faculty distinguishes this community, but today we honor them. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, President Guerin. The script says, how about an applause for these two incredible recipients? So I'll ask again if we could. On behalf of the William Smith Alumni Association and the Hobart Alumnae Association, and the Hobart Alumni Association, I'd like to thank you all for coming this afternoon for this session. This concludes our presentation, but we invite you to stick around for a brief reception.